When I told my parents I was very excited and looking forward to my sister's wedding next week, my mom replied, "It was last week. We sent you the wrong date." A month later, they begged to stay in my vacation house. I said, "No." "Well, let's go. My name's Marina, I'm 33, and I work as a technical project manager in Denver. The money's good. Really good actually, which is probably where this whole mess started. My parents are Diana and Gerald. Mom's 58 and Dad's 62. Dad's been trying to make it as a businessman for as long as I can remember, but let's just say success hasn't exactly been knocking down his door. Then there's my younger sister, Lacey. She's 29, does interior design, and has been dating this guy Evan for a while now. Growing up, I was always the invisible one. Lacey was the golden child. Got the new clothes, the better birthday parties, the car when she turned 16. Me. I got hand-me-downs and lectures about being responsible. When Lacey wanted something, Mom and Dad moved heaven and earth to get it for her. When I needed something, they told me to figure it out myself. And you know what I did? I worked my tail off, got scholarships, put myself through college, and landed a job that pays more than both my parents ever made combined. But here's the kicker. Even after everything, I still helped them. 3 years ago, Lacey called me crying. She'd racked up $9,500 in credit card debt buying things for her apartment and couldn't make the payments. Without even thinking twice, I transferred her the money. A month later, when I casually asked when she'd start paying me back, she looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "You're seriously asking your sister to pay you back? That's so tacky, Marina. Family doesn't keep tabs like that." I never brought it up again. 2 years ago, it was my parents' turn. Their house in the suburbs was falling apart. The roof was leaking, the foundation was cracked, and the repair estimate came to $28,000. Dad's latest business venture had tanked, and they were looking at losing the house. So guess who stepped in? Yeah, that would be me. I emptied most of my savings to pay for those repairs. On top of that, I regularly sent them money for groceries, utilities, medical bills, you name it. I even paid for their anniversary trip to Maui last year because Mom kept dropping hints about how they'd never been able to afford a real vacation. And what did I get in return? Well, let me paint you a picture. Every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, I'd show up at their house with presents and food, and Mom would awkwardly mention that the guest rooms were already taken by other family who were coming. The message was clear: come for dinner, then get out. We wouldn't want you actually staying the night or anything. Last Thanksgiving was the worst. I drove 3 hours to their place, knocked on the door for 10 minutes, called their phones. Nothing. Finally, the neighbor came out and told me they'd all gone to the Samuels place down the street for dinner. They didn't even tell me. I sat in my car in their driveway and cried for 20 minutes before driving back home alone. Then a few months ago, Lacey announced she was getting married to Evan. I was actually excited. Maybe this would be different. Maybe being part of her wedding would finally make me feel like I belonged in this family. I went all out. Joined a gym, lost 15 pounds, bought a gorgeous dress that cost way more than I usually spend on clothes. I'm more of a jeans and sneakers kind of person, but this was my sister's wedding. I even started writing a speech for the reception. Last week, I dropped by my parents' house. Mom was in the kitchen making coffee, and I couldn't contain my excitement. I can't believe Lacey's wedding is next week. I got my dress altered yesterday, and it looks amazing. Do you want to hear the speech I wrote? Mom's hand froze halfway to the coffee pot. Her face went pale. The wedding, I repeated, pulling the invitation from my purse. Saturday the 18th. See? Mom took the invitation from my hand, stared at it for a long moment, then set it down on the counter. She wouldn't look me in the eye. Marina, the wedding was last week. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. What? That's impossible. The invitation says. We sent you the wrong date, Mom said quietly, still not meeting my eyes. You sent me the wrong date. My voice came out as barely a whisper. How do you accidentally send someone the wrong date? Mom opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. She just stood there fidgeting with her wedding ring, looking at everything in the kitchen except me. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of what she was telling me. This wasn't an accident. You don't accidentally print an invitation with the wrong date for just one person. You don't accidentally forget to correct it. I turned around and walked out without saying another word. Mom didn't try to stop me. She didn't call after me. She just let me go. I made it to my car before the tears started. By the time I got home, I was sobbing so hard I could barely see the road. Once inside my apartment, I collapsed on my couch and cried until I had no tears left. Then I did something I should have done weeks ago. I went to Lacey's Instagram. There it was, posted 7 days ago. Pictures from her wedding. Lacey in a beautiful white dress. Evan looking handsome in his tux. Mom and Dad beaming with pride. And the guests, so many guests. Our aunts and uncles. Cousins I hadn't seen in years. Family, friends, neighbors, even Great-Aunt Marla, who lived 3 states away and could barely travel anymore. Everyone was there. Everyone except me. My phone rang. It was Jenna, my cousin on Mom's side. We'd always gotten along pretty well. "Marina, I just saw your missed call. What's up? Did you go to Lacey's wedding?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Yeah, of course. Why weren't you there? Your mom said you were having some psychological issues and couldn't handle being around crowds, but honestly I didn't buy it. You seemed fine when we talked a few weeks ago." Then at the reception I overheard something. Jenna paused. "Look, I probably shouldn't tell you this. Please, Jenna. I need to know. I was getting my coat from the closet and Lacey and your mom were in the hallway. They didn't know I was there. Lacey was laughing about something and your mom said, 'Well, at least Marina's not here to make everything about her success and her money.' And Lacey said, 'Right.' She would have found a way to mention her promotion or her salary at least 5 times during the reception. Then they both laughed and went back to the party. I couldn't speak. My own mother and sister had deliberately excluded me from the wedding, lied about it to everyone, and then laughed about it. I sat there in my dark apartment thinking about all the money I'd given them, all the times I'd dropped everything to help them, all the rejection I'd endured because I thought that's just how families were. And this was how they repaid me. The next morning my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Hi, sweetie. Dad needs $320 for some parts for the car. Can you Venmo it today? Thanks. Love you." As if nothing had happened. As if she hadn't just admitted to deliberately excluding me from my own sister's wedding. As if love you meant anything coming from her. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I grabbed my keys. It was time to have a conversation with my family. A real conversation, the kind we should have had years ago. I didn't bother knocking. I just used my key and walked straight into my parents' house. They were all there in the living room. Mom, Dad, and Lacey, who was showing them photos on her laptop. "Look at this sunset in Belize," Lacey was saying. "The honeymoon was just perfect." She stopped mid-sentence when she saw me. The room went dead silent. "Marina," Mom stood up, forcing a smile. "We weren't expecting you." "Yeah, I bet you weren't," I said. "Just like you weren't expecting me at the wedding." Lacey closed her laptop with a snap. "Oh, here we go. The drama queen has arrived." "Drama queen?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You deliberately sent me a fake invitation with the wrong date. And I'm the drama queen?" "It was my wedding," Lacey said, standing up and crossing her arms. "I get to decide who comes. Then why send me an invitation at all?" "Mom thought it would look bad if we didn't," Lacey shrugged. "But I never wanted you there, Marina. You want to know why? Because everything always has to be about you, your job, your money, your success. It was my day, and I didn't want you making it about yourself. Making it about myself." I stared at her in disbelief. "When have I ever done that?" "Oh, please," she scoffed. "Every family gathering, you find a way to mention your salary or your latest promotion. It's exhausting. That's rich coming from someone who took $9,500 from me and acted like I was trash for asking when you'd pay it back." Mom stepped between us. "Now, girls, let's not." "No, Mom. Let's talk about how you told everyone I had psychological problems. Let's talk about how you and Lacey were laughing about my absence at the wedding. Dad finally spoke up from his chair, still staring at the floor. Marina, we're family. Let's not blow this out of proportion. Family. I looked at each of them in turn. Family doesn't deliberately exclude someone from major life events. Family doesn't lie and scheme behind someone's back. Family doesn't take thousands of dollars in support and then treat the person giving it like an ATM machine. Oh, stop being so dramatic, Lacey rolled her eyes. So you missed one wedding. Big deal. It is a big deal, I shouted. I paid off your debts. I saved Mom and Dad's house. I've been bankrolling this family for years and you couldn't even include me in your wedding. Well, that's what family does, they help each other, Lacey said coldly. Exactly, I snapped. So where was my family when I needed them? Where were you at my promotion dinner? Where were you when I had surgery last year? Where were you on my birthdays? Silence. Mom finally spoke. Marina, you're overreacting. We're still family. No, I said, heading for the door. We're not. Family doesn't treat each other like this. I'm done. Oh, what are you going to do? Lacey called after me mockingly. Stop talking to us for a few weeks. Give us the silent treatment. I turned at the door. This isn't over. The next day, I sat in my office downtown, staring at a folder I'd kept locked in my desk drawer for 5 years. Inside were documents most people would never think to keep. But I've always been careful about paperwork. 5 years ago, Dad's business was failing again. They were about to lose their vacation home in Pine Valley, a beautiful property they'd bought during one of Dad's brief successful periods. The bank was days away from foreclosure, so I bought it from them for $190,000 cash. Every penny from my savings. Dad used the money to save his business, and I let them keep using the house whenever they wanted. I never asked for rent. Never mentioned that it was legally mine. It was for family after all. I picked up my phone and called Harper Klein, my lawyer. We'd worked together on some contract issues at my company, and I trusted her. Harper, it's Marina. I need your help with something personal. Can you come to my office? An hour later, Harper sat across from me reviewing the papers. She was 42, sharp as a knife, and didn't miss anything. This is all completely legal, she said, looking up from the documents. You own this house free and clear. Your parents have no legal claim to it. At best, they're tenants at will since there's no lease agreement. Can I evict them? Harper studied me for a moment. Legally, yes, you can give them 30 days notice. Is that what you want to do? I don't know yet. Can you prepare the paperwork just in case? Of course. If you don't mind me asking, what happened? I gave her the short version. Her expression hardened as I talked. They deliberately excluded you from the wedding after everything you've done. That's cold. Yeah. Well, that's my family for you. After Harper left, I decided to drive out to the Pine Valley house. I hadn't been there in months, but I wanted to see it, to remind myself that it was really mine. The drive took about an hour. It was a beautiful property. 5 acres with a gorgeous stone house, a pool, perfect views of the hills. I pulled up the long driveway and stopped short. There were cars there. Several cars. I got out and walked to the front door. I could hear voices inside. Using my key, I walked in. Lacey was standing in the middle of the living room like she owned the place, gesturing dramatically at the stone fireplace. 3 people stood around her. A polished couple in their 40s and a younger woman furiously taking notes on her tablet. This fireplace was my biggest challenge, Lacey was saying. I had to source these stones from a quarry in Oregon. Each one was hand-selected by me. The entire renovation took 6 months, but as you can see, this is my house, and I personally oversaw every detail. I stood in the doorway, listening to her lie with such confidence it was almost impressive. The kitchen renovation was even more intensive, Lacey continued, leading them toward the kitchen. I designed that backsplash myself. Had it custom made in Italy. Cost me $27,000 just for the tiles. That was enough. I stepped into the room. Really? Because I have the receipt from Home Depot for that backsplash. $780, installed by a guy named Tony. Lacey spun around so fast she almost tripped. Her face went from confident to complete panic in half a second. Marina, what are you doing here? I own this house. The better question is, what are you doing here, lying to these people? The man in the expensive suit looked between us. I'm sorry, what's going on here? This is my sister, Lacey said quickly. She's a bit confused. No, I'm really not. I pulled out my phone and opened the photos of the deed and purchase documents I'd saved there. See this deed of sale, dated 5 years ago? This property is in my name. Only my name. The woman with the tablet looked at Lacey with disgust. You told us this was your property. You said you lived here. It's a family property, Lacey stammered, her voice getting higher. We all use it. No, we don't, I said firmly. I bought this house from our parents when they were facing foreclosure. I own it completely. Lacey has never lived here, never paid for any renovations, and has no right to be here showing it to anyone. The man's face turned red. Ms. Lacey, this was supposed to be an $80,000 design contract. We specifically asked if you had a property to showcase our new furniture line. You've wasted everyone's time. Wait, Lacey called as they headed for the door. We can work something out. I can find another property. The man turned back, his expression cold. We don't work with liars. And I'll make sure everyone in the Denver design community knows what happened here today. They left, their cars kicking up dust as they sped down the driveway. Lacey turned on me, her face twisted with rage. You absolute witch. Do you have any idea what you just cost me? The truth cost you that contract, not me. Pulled out my phone. I can call the police right now. Trespassing is a crime, Lacey. She grabbed her purse, face red with fury, and stormed past me, but turned at the door. I'm telling Mom and Dad about this. Go ahead, I said. They can't do anything about it either. After she left, I called a locksmith. By evening, new locks were installed. The locksmith handed me the only set of keys. Nobody's getting in here without your permission now, he said. The next morning, I arrived at Darren Holbrook's office downtown. Harper Klein was already there, briefcase in hand. Marina, Darren said, pulling up my accounts on his computer. Harper told me you need to restructure your finances. Let's see what we're working with. I need to cut all financial ties with my family, I said. Every single one. Darren's eyebrows rose slightly, but he stayed professional. All right. The biggest issue is this joint account from 8 years ago. Your parents are co-signers. It means they have full access. They can withdraw funds without your permission. He clicked through some screens. In fact, there have been some recent withdrawals. $2,800 last month. $1,200 2 weeks ago. He paused. And $750 yesterday morning. Yesterday. Right after I confronted them, they were already raiding the account. How much is left? About $11,500, from the $48,000 you'd maintained in there. Transfer whatever's left to a new account, one only I can access. Darren began preparing paperwork. This will close the joint account entirely. They'll be notified, of course. Good, I said. I want them to know. My phone buzzed. Lacey. Marina, I'm sorry about earlier. Can we please talk? I set it face down without responding. Darren slid a stack of documents across his desk. These will remove your parents and sister as beneficiaries from all your investment accounts, retirement funds, and life insurance policies. I signed each one carefully while Harper reviewed the legal language. This one blocks them from any information about your accounts, Darren continued. They won't be able to call and check balances or transaction history. Another buzz. Lacey again. Please don't shut us out. Or family. Are there any other connections I might have missed? Yes. Darren typed for a moment. There's a credit card you co-signed for Lacey 4 years ago. Cancel my authorization. Darren prepared more papers. I signed them all. With each signature I felt lighter, like I was cutting invisible chains one by one. This is the last one, Darren said, sliding a final document over. This formally notifies all financial institutions that your family members have no power of attorney and cannot act on your behalf under any circumstances. I signed it with a flourish. Darren collected the papers, organizing them into a neat stack. It's done. Your finances are now completely independent. Your family has no access to any of your money, investments, or property. You're financially free from them. For the first time in my adult life, my money was actually mine. No more surprise withdrawals. No more guilt-driven transfers. No more being treated like an ATM with a pulse. As I left Darren's office, my phone buzzed one more time. Mum. Marina, Lacey told me what happened. How could you be so cruel? I deleted the message without reading the rest and walked into the Denver sunshine. For the first time in years, I felt truly free. A week after cutting my financial ties, Jenna called with an update. You're not going to believe this, she said. Lacey lost that huge interior design contract. $80,000 gone. The clients from my house. Yep. Word spread fast about her lying. No design firm in Denver wants to work with her now. She and Evan can barely make rent. That same afternoon my phone rang. Evan's name on the screen surprised me. Marina, please don't hang up. I need to apologize. For what exactly? I had no idea about the wedding thing. Lacey told me you couldn't come because of work. I should have called you myself to check. I'm so sorry. His sincerity caught me off guard, but I wasn't ready to forgive. You're married to her, Evan. How did you not see through her lies? You're right. I should have noticed. I should have asked questions. I'm sorry, Marina. I understand if you can't forgive me. He added quietly, then hung up. An hour later, an email popped up from Mom. Subject, forgive us. I deleted it without opening it. Whatever she had to say, I'd heard it all before. A month passed. I was in the middle of presenting quarterly projections when my assistant knocked. Security called. Your parents are in the lobby demanding to see you. I excused myself and headed downstairs. Mom and Dad stood by the security desk, looking older and more fragile than I remembered. Marina, please. Mom's voice trembled. We need to talk. We're sorry. We want to fix this. I said nothing. Dad stepped forward. We never meant to hurt you. Can't we put this behind us? I shook my head and pulled out my phone. Jenna had sent me a video from the wedding. I hit play. Lacey appeared on screen, champagne glass raised, laughing with the guests. Her voice rang out clear. It's a good thing Marina isn't here to steal my attention. Mom looked away. Dad stared at his shoes. Their guilt was written all over their faces. Please, Mom's voice cracked. At least let us use the country house for a while. The business failed again. We took out a loan against our house to invest, and now the bank's going to foreclose. The house is mine, I said coldly. You've used me enough. Mom started crying. Dad grabbed my arm. We can work this out. We're sorry. Please, Marina. I shook my head. Lacey's laughter from the video still echoed in my mind. Mom's silence at the wedding. Dad's complicity. They'd chosen their side long ago. I turned to the security chief beside me. Please escort them out. 6 months later, I stood on the terrace of my country house, wine in hand, watching the sunset. My promotion party was in full swing. Jenna was there, along with Harper and several work friends. No family, obviously. Cheers to Senior Director Marina. Harper raised her glass. Everyone toasted. Felt good to celebrate with people who actually cared about me. A few days later, an invitation arrived. My parents' anniversary party. I looked at it for exactly 2 seconds before tossing it in the trash. Jenna kept me updated on the family drama over the following weeks. Lacey and Evan had to move to this tiny apartment on the sketchy side of town, she told me over coffee. Their finances are wrecked after she lost that contract. And your parents? They sold the house to pay debts. Bought this cramped little place that needs major work. Your mom won't even have people over because she's so embarrassed. Do they blame me? Of course. They tell everyone you abandoned them. But don't worry, I make sure people know the real story. The whole family knows what they did to you now. I started spending more time at my Pine Valley house. Every weekend I'd invite friends over. We'd barbecue, swim in the pool, drink wine on the terrace. It became my sanctuary. One evening Harper asked, "Any regrets?" I looked around at my beautiful property, my genuine friends, the life I'd built free from manipulation and guilt. None, I said. They showed me who they really were. I finally believed them. My phone sat silent on the table. No requests for money. No guilt trips. No fake apologies. I had everything I needed. Real friends who valued me for more than my bank account. A beautiful home that was truly mine. Success I'd earned on my own. And most importantly, peace. My parents and sister had made their choice. They'd chosen greed over love, jealousy over family, lies over truth. Now they were living with the consequences. And me. I was finally free. No more being their personal ATM. No more begging for scraps of affection. No more pretending we were a real family. I raised my glass to the sunset. Here's to new beginnings, real relationships, and the courage to walk away from people who never really loved you at all.